good day everyone. Today I will be discussing the cooperative principle, a concept introduced by Paul Gris. So this principle helps us understand how to communicate effectively and respectfully. It guides us to express our thoughts clearly, listen carefully, and make sure that what we say fits that situation. So through this presentation, we'll learn its meaning, its forming maxims, how they are followed or broken, and why they are important in everyday communication. So let's proceed to the next slide. So the cooperative principle and the quote seek first to understand and to be understood by Paul Gris. And Paul Gris explained that communication involves respecting others' rights and thoughts. Misunderstanding happen when meaning is misinterpreted. The cooperative principle means we strive to make our talk appropriate and cooperative. So cooperative principle means that when we talk, we try to make sure both people understand each other clearly. So we respect what other thinks and try to speak in a way that fits that situation. Like, for example, if your teacher asked, "Did you finish your homework?" and you replied with, "Yes, ma'am, I submitted it this morning." So you're being cooperative and clear. So let's proceed to the next slide. So the four maxims of cooperation was quantity, quality, relation, manner. So quantity, give the right amount of information. So it means that say just enough or don't give too little or too much detail. Like, for example, where's your mother? And you answered it with, she's at work. So you answered it with just enough and you did not give too much detail or too little. So let's proceed to the quality, be truthful. So it means that only say things you believe are true. Like, for example, if someone asks you that, is it raining outside? And you answered it with, yes, it's raining. So you're answering it with a truthful answer or you're being truthful with your answer. So for the relation be relevant. So it means that you should stay on the topic and don't say unrelated things. Like, for example, someone asked you again that, did you finish your assignment? And you answered it with, yes, I finished it this morning. So you're being relevant and you did not stay out of the topic and you did not say unrelated things about this topic and you stay only on the topic. So for the manner was be clear and orderly. So it means that speak in an organized and easy to understand way. So for example, someone asks you again and where is the library? So you answered it with the library is on the second floor beside the computer lab. So you're answering it with an organized and an easy to understand way. So that's how you would be known if it is a manner because you answered it with clear and orderly. So let's proceed to the slide 3. So ways of following or breaking maxims. Observe, follow the maxim properly, violate, fail to follow it, flout, deliberately break it to make a point, opt out, refuse to take a part in the conversation. So for the observe, follow the maxim properly, or it means that you respect the rule and communicate clearly. Like, for example, where's my phone? And you answer it with, it's on the table. So you're respecting the rule and communicate with it clearly. So for the violate, fail to follow it, or it means you break the rule. It is often by lying or giving wrong info. Like, someone asked you, did you take my pen? And you answer it with no, even though you did. And for the flout, deliberately break it to make a point or be humorous. And it means that you break a rule on purpose and often to imply something. Like, for example, someone asked you again that, did you enjoy my singing? And you said that, well, the dog started howling. And that's how you'd imply something or you're being humorous. Opt out, refuse to take part in the conversation, or it means you choose not to answer or participate. Like, for example, someone asked you, who did you vote for? And you answered it with, I'd rather not say, or you choose not to answer or participate with that question. So let's proceed to the next slide. The key idea. So the cooperative principle encourages effective communication by ensuring we understand others and are understood in return. So it means that cooperative principle help us become better communicators. It reminds us to listen carefully, be honest, and speak clearly so people understand us and we understand them. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope this helped you understand how important cooperation is in communication and how applying the cooperative principle can make our conversation more meaningful, clear, and respectful.
The maxim of quantity. So what is the maxim of quantity? Maxim of quantity means giving the right amount of information when you speak. But you should only say enough information, but not too much. Don't give too little because the listener won't understand. And also, don't give too much because it becomes confusing or unnecessary. In simple terms, be informative, but only as needed. So we have an example here. Example number 1. Kyla asked Andrea, "What time is it?" Andrea answered, "It's 3 p.m. Simple as that. But if Andrea answered, "It's 3 p.m., the sun is still up, and I'm drinking coffee." This part is unnecessary because Kyla were only asking about the time. Example number 2. Debbie asked Andrew, "Where did you go yesterday?" He answered, "I went to the library." So his answer is straight to the point. But if Andrew answered, "I went somewhere," the answer is too short and ununderstandable. Example number 3. Who's your teacher? Sophia asked. Miss Angela, Pia answered. Simple as that. Because Sophia were only asking about the teacher. But if Pia answered Miss Angela, the one who wears glasses and drives a red car, and always gives long quizzes. This part were unnecessary because the question is only who is the teacher. In short, the maxim of quantity means gives enough information for the listeners to understand, but don't overload them with details.
Good day, everyone. This is my report, The Maxim of Quality. The maxim of quality focuses on truthfulness in communication. It means that when we talk, we should always tell the truth and give information that we believe in true and supported by evidence. There are two main rules under this maxim. First, do not say what you believe to be false. This means we should avoid lying or giving false information. We must only share what we truly think is correct. Second, do not say anything without enough evidence. This means we shouldn't make statements that we cannot prove or support. If we are unsure about something, it's better not to claim true. In short, the maxim of quality reminds us to be honest and accurate when we communicate. Our goal is to provide truthful information, not lies or guesses.
Good morning. I am Gian Brylle de la Torre, and today I'll be talking about the maxim of relation, which is part of Grice's theory of conversational maxims. This is for our introduction to linguistic class, and I'll explain how relevance plays a key role in communication. So first of all, we have Grice's maxims overview. Grice introduced four maxims that guide how we communicate effectively. These are the maxims of quantity or being informative. Number two is the quality or being truthful. And Number three, relation or being relevant. And number four is the manner or being clear. And today we are going to talk about the maxim of relation or being relevant. What is the maxim of relation? Now we zoom on the maxim of relation. It tells speakers to contribute information that is relevant to the current topic. If someone suddenly changes the subject or says something unrelated, they're violating this maxim. Relevance helps conversations flow smoothly and ensures that listeners can follow along without confusion. So, the maximum relation tell us to be relevant when we speak. It means we should only say some things that relate to the topic. Staying on the topic helps conversations make sense and flow smoothly. And now we move on to why does relevance matters. Here emphasizes that relevance is essential for effective communication. When speakers stay on topic, listeners can understand and respond appropriately. If someone says something unrelated, it can cause confusion or make the conversation feel awkward. This maxim helps maintain coherence and mutual understanding. And we have a clear example of relevance here. If someone asks, "Where's the bathroom?" and the reply is, "It's down the hall to the left," that is relevant. But if the reply is, "I love pizza," it's clearly off topic and violates the maxim. This helps your audience see how relevance works in everyday conversation. And moving on, implicature and indirect relevance. Sometimes relevance is implied rather than directly stated. For example, if someone says, "I'm out of gas," and the reply is, "There's a gas station around the corner," the second speaker doesn't say, "You can refuel there," but the meaning is clear. This is called conversational implicature, when meaning is suggested rather than explicitly stated, and it still follows the maxim of relation. And here we have that violations can be intentional. Now we explore how breaking the maxims can be done on purpose. In comedy, sarcasm, or storytelling, speakers might say something irrelevant to create humor or surprise. For example, a comedian might respond to a serious question with a silly answer to make people laugh. This intentional violation shows how flexible language can be. Breaking the maxim can be done on purpose. For example, is for humor, sarcasm, or storytelling. Comedians often say irrelevant things to surprise the audience and make them laugh. And lastly, the importance of maxim or relation in linguistics. Here connect the maxim to linguistic analysis. Studying the maxim of relation helps us understand how people use language in real life. It shows how context and speaker intention affect meaning. Linguists use this maxim to analyze how conversations work and how people interpret what others say. So, the importance of studying this maxim helps us understand how people use language in real life. It shows how context and intention affect meaning and how relevance supports effective communication. And that is all for my part. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Eller Malinao, and now let's dive into our lesson, the maxim of manner. So what is the maxim of manner? The maxim of manner is one of the conversational maxims proposed by the philosopher Paul Grice as part of his theory of cooperative conversation. It relates to how something said rather than what is said. Now, here's the breakdown. The maxim of manner requires speaker to be perspicuous, meaning They should avoid obscurity, ambiguity, and unnecessary wordiness, and to be orderly. First of all, avoid obscurity of expression. Speak clearly and avoid jargon or language that the listener won't understand. Avoid ambiguity. Be precise in your word choice to prevent multiple interpretations. Be brief. Get to the point without saying more words than necessary. Be orderly. Present information in a logical and coherent sequence. Now, why is this important? The purpose of this maxim is to ensure effective communication by making the speaker's contributions easy to understand. Now, what happens if someone violated this maxim? Here is an example. Instead of saying the cat is on the mat, someone might say the feline creature is situated upon the floor covering. We have the sentence, the cat is on the mat. It is a clear and direct statement that follows the maxim of manner. The maxim of manner is crucial for maintaining the cooperative principle in conversation, which assumes that participants are trying to communicate effectively and understand each other. Implications. Speakers who flout this maxim may be perceived as confusing, unclear, or even intentionally misleading. Adhering to this maxim helps ensure that communication is efficient and effective. Now, in conclusion, basically, be nice and clear when you talk to people. It makes everything smoother. Communicate with clarity and kindness. It transforms interactions. Now, that will be all for my part. Thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. I'm Josie and Ganaway, and I'm going to present to you the speech act theory. Speech act theory explains how we use language not only to say things, but also to do things. Our words can perform actions, influence people, and even change reality. It is developed by philosophers G.L. Austin and J.R. Searle. According to Austin, there's three types of speech acts, like we speak and happening at once. First is locutionary act. It is saying something like the literal meaning. Example, do you have water? Like you're asking. And second is a locutionary act, the speaker's intention. Example, like you are requesting for water. Third is the perlocutionary act, the effect on the listener. An example is the waiter brings water. So a simple question can perform an action. So let's proceed to Searle's categories. Searle's categories has 5 categories, which are the assertives. Assertive means express beliefs or information. Second, directives, get someone to do something. Third is commissives, make promises or commitments. Fourth is expressive, show emotions or attitude. Fifth is declarations, change reality through words. So these are the examples of Searle's categories. They pledge to recycle waste at home, and it's called commissive because it's a promise. Second is lawmakers affirm the importance of this bill. It is assertive because it's expressing belief. Third is I recommend that you don't eat first before watching. It is directive because it's giving a command. Fourth is I declare the nominations closed. It is declaration because it's declaring something. Fifth is we congratulate you, Mr. President. It is expressive because it shows emotions. Next, we have the perlocutionary acts. It focuses on the effect of the speech on the listener. Example, saying you should study harder. It motivates a friend to study. It highlights the emotional or behavioral impact of communication. The importance of speech act theory, it helps us to understand, communicate beyond words, and it reveals the intentions behind speech. It shows how language can perform social actions. Lastly, it is useful in daily conversations, politics, education, and relationships. And the conclusion of speech act theory, it shows that speaking is a form of action. Words can inform command, promise, express feelings, or even change reality. Remember what J.L. Austin said, to say something is to do something. Thank you for listening.
Topic it's all about illocutionary and perlocutionary acts. Locutionary acts focus on the literal meaning of words spoken. Illocutionary acts convey the speaker's intended meaning beyond the literal. Perlocutionary acts examine the listener's response and its effect. Illocutionary acts explain the essence of meaning. An illocutionary act conveys the speaker's intended meaning directly, exemplifying how language operates beyond words. It reveals the deeper significance of what is expressed in communication. Formatives and electionary force. Searle's 5 Act. Assertives convey information, beliefs, asserting the truth of a proposition. They state facts or describe reality. Commissives commit the speaker to a certain course of action, like promising or vowing to do something in the future. And declaration bring about a change in the external world simply by the act of speaking, such as pronouncing someone married. Directives express the speaker's intention to get the listener to do something, often seen in requests or commands. Expressive communicate the speaker's emotional state, such as congratulating, apologizing, or expressing sorrow or joy. The pledge, a commitment expressed through sincere intentions of a sport. Recommend, suggesting a course of action based on trustworthy advice. Congratulate, celebrate achievement with joy and recognition of effort. Affirm, expressing agreement and support through positive reinforcement. Declare, making a formal announcement that carries significant impact. Key concept. The summary of key concept. Number 1, illocutionary acts convey the speaker's true intention when communicating. Searle's 5 categories help categorize different speech functions clearly. Perlocutionary acts examine the listener reactions and emotional responses. And that's all. Thank you.